Hey, Lafayette House Medical Laboratory. My choice, your choice, our choice.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, a student of the St. Martin's Primary School has topped the 2025 Grade 6 National Assessment as the Ministry of Education announces improvement in the results this year. In news from the region, OAS and Dominican Republic implement new standard to combat corruption in electoral processes. And internationally, Iran's foreign minister says Iran will consider diplomacy when aggression stops. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when I return.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot hide. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping.
DBS News.
Welcome back and welcome to the listeners of Acoustic Worship Radio. In our lead story, a 12-year-old student of the St. Martin's Primary School has topped the 2025 Grade 6 National Assessment. The top 5 students of the 2025 Grade 6 National Assessment were announced during a press conference at the Alias Forces this afternoon.
Present to you the top 5 students this year. So we have Amelia A.K. Stevens, St. Martin Primary. We have Peyton N.M. Hillary, or Hile, Petit Savan. Kasnaya Kazimi, Newton Primary. Kinaya Riviere, St. John's Academy. And Eliana Girodel, St. Martin's Primary.
Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. 86 students received scholarships while 108 students were awarded bursaries. DBS News editor Curtis Matthew spoke with the top performer at the Grade 6 National Assessment, 12-year-old Amelia Stephen of the St. Martin's Primary School, who resides in Newton.
Well, you can become so overstimulated that you don't have emotion. Like me, I don't like to cry in front of people, to be honest, but it's so much joy. You can't really explain. Yeah.
No, you woke up this morning knowing that the results were going to be released today, or if not today, you got wind of that in the course of the weekend. What was the feeling like?
The feeling, I was very nervous, to be honest. I was like, A for math, because math is my best subject. Language, maybe it will be a little but then turns out I actually got an A. Wow. And then there's socials and science. Social is not really my best subject, but I feel good. I still did good. I'm really surprised.
Right. Can you give us a hint, an idea, what caused you to place so very high in the exams this year? I suspect a lot of studies and so on.
Yes, as long as you're consistent with your studying and your homework and your grades, like you always have to do your homework, your assignments, everything, and then you would become higher improvements, and you become, I can't even find the words.
How does it feel to be the #1 student in Dominica at the exams?
Oh, I feel, like I said, I'm so overstimulated, but I can't even do too much movement. I feel overjoyed. I feel like so much relief, the worries. I can't even find the words again.
but you are going to get yourself ready for secondary school in September.
Yes, I'm so excited. A new chapter in your life, being a new chapter in your life.
Top performer at the Grade 6 National Assessment, Amelia Stephen of the St. Martin's Primary School. DBS News also spoke with Eliana Girodel of Granby from the St. Martin's Primary School, who came in at 5th position.
It makes me feel very proud and it makes me feel very blessed that I'm here today collecting this award and being interviewed by so many people. It just makes me feel proud and it makes me look on my hard work over the nights and so on, and all the people that helped me.
Tell us about the studies for the exams. What did you have to do to get to this level?
For the studies for the exam, I had to go deep in my research. I had to really like the new things that I didn't know. I had to look at videos and so on to understand it deeper and analyze it properly.
Any final words to your parents, your teachers?
I want to thank God first, and I want to thank my mom for being with me till the candle burned out. I want to thank my father who gave me the general knowledge to be here today. I want to thank my tutors and my teachers for helping me and advancing me. And I want to thank my family members like my aunties and my uncles and my cousins for the motivation.
Eliana Girodel of the St. Martin's Primary School. And Education Minister Octavia Alfred says moving forward, the national assessment will take a different format.
I will say maybe it will not be common entrance, but it will be a grade 6 national assessment. We have national assessment at grade 2 and we have national assessments at grade 4. So we will have a national assessment at the end of grade 6, but it will not be in that format. We are now looking at how it will be presented, but there will be an assessment. There may also be a national assessment for grade 3 and grade 5, which means that the schools will not prepare end of year exam, but the Ministry of Education will provide the assessment and all the schools will do it, and that would speak to the curriculum officers a whole lot more than every school writing their own end of year exam. So I think the grade 2 and grade 4 assessments have taken root and people are now accustomed with them, and it will have a grade 6 assessment, but not like common entrance or so, but there will be a grade 6 national assessment.
Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise says students performed better this year than in the previous year.
Today, the Ministry of Education is proud, notwithstanding that we had a slight decline in the number of students who wrote the exams, that our students performed even better at this year's assessment than in the previous year. We're also proud to share with the general public that well over 25%, that is about 1/4 of our students who wrote the examination this year obtained scholarship and bursaries combined. That's 1/4 of the population. We are also happy to indicate that many of our students performed very well in all subject areas. From the analysis, we can also conclude that the size of the school or the population has very little influence on student output. As a result, students are able to shine in small schools, in medium-sized schools, and even in large schools, in whichever education environment that provides adequate support structures for student learning. And that is important. It's not the size of the school that matters, but it's the structures that we provide for students.
Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise. In other news this evening, Acting Prime Minister Dennis Charles Pemberton has told the graduates of the Business Training Center that their skills will be needed as Dominica embarks on a plan to revive its economy. Mrs. Pemberton addressed the graduation ceremony of the Business Training Center at the People's Pentecostal and Family Church this morning.
Graduates, your calling is now. This is your season to build foundations, not fantasies, to make life choices that align with your goals, to choose discipline over distraction, consistency over applause. You are here to create, to innovate, and to lead. Dominica needs your vision to develop a resilient economy, to work on transformative projects like the International Airport, Cabritz Marina, hotels, cruise terminal, and cargo port. We want and need your contributions and talents to grow our tourism industry and aviation sector. We need you in maritime, health, agriculture, and the digital economy. Wherever your talent lies, we need your entrepreneurial spirit to take root and your industrious nature to rise to the occasion. The work ahead will not always be easy, but will always be worth it. Let your faith be your compass, let your character be your anchor, and let your passion be your power.
Acting Prime Minister Dennis Charles Pemberton. Meantime, Kevin Mitchell was named the Outstanding Student of a Business Training Center. Director of the Business Training Center, Lucia Stedman, has announced that the institution expanded by gaining GED testing center status. She says this is a major milestone for the Business Training Center.
We are proud to announce that BTC has recently become an official GED testing center, a blessing that came exceedingly abundantly above what we initially envisioned, expanding our capacity to serve individuals seeking to complete their high school equivalency. This milestone represents God's favor, opening new pathways to education for all members of our community. So to expound a little on what the GED is, for those of you who are familiar with the high school diploma system in the Commonwealth of Dominica and in the Caribbean, when we attend the regular high school and we do a group of CXC courses, we are given a high school diploma at the end of the year or at the end of 5 years or whatever the school requirement is. The GED high school diploma is the international version of that. For students who dropped out of high school in whatever country, you can focus on the GED high school diploma, and that will give you entry into boarding schools, into any entry-level college, including, I hope, our very own Dominica State College.
Director of Business Training Center, Lucia Stedman. She says the Business Training Center will continue its expansion with the launch of BTC Antigua and Dutch St. Martin branches.
As we celebrate today's accomplishments, we are already preparing for tomorrow's opportunities. BTC has a strategic plan, and you will see it unfold perhaps next week when we launch the BTC Antigua and the BTC St. Martin, Dutch St. Martin branch. As we speak, we are in the process of signing MOUs with Dominican businesses that exist in those two countries to allow Dominicans who reside in these two countries the opportunity to tap into Dominica's education. So look out for us, and we thank you so much for your support in our innovation as we provide hybrid education.
Director of Business Training Center, Lucia Stedman. Adelia Hamilton is the 2025 valedictorian of the Portsmouth Secondary School. Anelia Aaron picked up the awards for Salutatorian and Student of the Year. 77 students bid farewell to the Portsmouth Secondary School this morning. Monel Alexis delivered the keynote address at the graduation ceremony.
Stay ready. Someone always wants your dream job. Stay learning, stay evolving. Don't get comfortable with the version of you that exists today. Be ready, or being ready means investing in yourself, reading, practicing, preparing, even when no one is watching. Number 2, do hard things. Breakthroughs don't come from ease. They come from effort, from teaching yourself what no one else will, from failing publicly and still showing up anyways. Hard things refine you. They make you valuable. Number 3, be uncomfortable. Comfort never builds anything legendary. Your excuses are the guards between you and your breakthrough. Say yes to what scares you and no to what no longer grows you. Number 4, believe in the long game. Not every seed grows overnight, but keep watering, keep believing. Some roots are growing long before they bloom. Consistency, not perfection, is what builds legacy. As Nelson Mandela once said, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done," end quote. So do it, even if it feels impossible. Number 5, choose your friends wisely.
Keynote speaker Monel Alexis, parliamentary representative of the Cottage constituency Ronald Roye, called on graduates to take advantage of existing avenues available to them.
You are graduating at a difficult time. As part of the international community, we are faced with economic challenges and uncertainties that make it harder than ever to thrive and be successful. But you need not to feel hopeless. There are several avenues available for you as you step out of the gates of the Portsmouth Secondary School. Firstly, I encourage you to take advantage of the chance to access tertiary education, as we have spared no effort in providing you with quality facilities for quality education. The Dominica State College continues to grow in intake, as our commitment to education of this country, human resource, is unquestionable. In addition to our investment in physical infrastructure for learning, hundreds of our students have received the opportunity to study abroad through scholarships based on relationship fostered with friendly governments. Furthermore, we are also working diligently to address the issues of unemployment among youth. The National Employment Program is a concrete example of our efforts to provide young graduates with avenues for employment and starting point for which they can go to build careers, form families, and lead meaningful lives. We pledge to continue sourcing new avenues of employment for young people of this country as we seek new, innovative ways to build our economy.
Parliamentary representative of the Cottage constituency, Roland Roye. That's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping.
DBS News.
In news from the region, the Organization of American States, OAS, and the Dominican Republic today signed an agreement to establish a regulatory framework for the implementation of the anti-bribery management system standard in the country. The standard operates as a management system for anti-bribery policy, assessing risk, monitoring financial and non-financial controls, developing report channels, and corrective investigations. The OAS will provide technical cooperation with the goal of achieving certification for the Dominican Republic Electoral Office practice under this anti-bribery standard. The implementation of this international standard will provide a framework within its electoral processes to prevent, detect, and address risk of bribery and corruption. And internationally, Iran is ready to consider diplomacy once the aggression is stopped, the country's foreign minister says, following talks with some of his European counterparts. Foreign ministers from France, the UK, and Germany say they are keen to see ongoing discussions on Tehran's nuclear program, but U.S. President Donald Trump has cast doubt over the impact of the talks, saying Iran does not want to speak to Europe. Iran wants to speak to the United States. It comes as the exchange of fire between Israel and Iran has continued, with Israel hit by a new round of strikes this afternoon. That's news, the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome to the DBS Evening Sports Report. Tasmin Brits continued to be a thorn in the side of the West Indies women's team as they were sent crashing to defeat in the first T20 in Barbados this afternoon. South Africa batted first and posted an imposing 183 for 6 in their 20 overs. Tasmin Brits hit 98 not out of 63 balls. Jazra Claxton picked up 3 for 39 and Afi Fletcher 1 for 40. The Windies, chasing 184 to win, again struggled with the bats as they were 49 for 5 at one point. Janelle Glasgow hit her maiden T20 half-century to lift the Windies in the end to a score of 133 for 6. Glasgow got 53 not out and Chanel Henry made 26. South Africa won by 50 runs. Here now is the Windies captain Hayley Matthews.
We probably didn't use the wicket as well as we wanted to. Found it was a bit slow, but probably ended up bowling just a bit too full on a wicket like that, giving them the opportunity to hit down the ground.
Anything that you perhaps could have done differently if given the chance again, and how can you restrain or restrict Tasman Brits?
Yeah, I think just be more disciplined with our lengths for sure. I think that's probably something that South Africa did really well today. I think especially when Chanel Henry was at the crease, someone who's quite similar to Tasman Brits with the way they go about their batting. And we saw how disciplined they were with their lengths, making sure that she didn't have any step hits to go into. So probably just being able to manage that and execute that a bit better.
A loss today, but some positives. Clarkson, a wicket in each of her 3 overs. Glasgow with a career best first T20 half-century. Positives?
Yeah, 100%. I think every match we've had so far, some of the younger girls have stepped up and we've seen break spurts and them doing really well. Claxton, this will be about her second or third game now, and obviously Glasgow getting her first 50 is really, really good sign, so still a lot of positives to take out of everything for sure.
Yeah, not much time between this one and the next one. How do you get your group ready for that?
Yeah, well, still a lot to play for, obviously. You know, it's a 3-match series and 2 to go, so still 100% in it with a chance. We just have to recoup to be able to come back and play some really good cricket.
West Indies women's captain Hayley Matthews. The Windies trail 1-0 in the series. The second T20 takes place on Sunday. India's captain Shubman Gill hit a century on debut as captain as India took Day 1 honours on the opening day of the first test against England at Lord's. Yashasvi Jaswal also got a century as India looked quite comfortable on the opening day. India sent in to bat first to reach 359 for 3 at stumps on day 1. Gill ended not out on 127. Rishwab Pant not out on 65. The two are sharing an unbeaten partnership of 138. Earlier, Jaswal got 101 and KL Rahul 42. Ben Stokes had 2 for 43 for England so far. Dominica's cricketers will have another opportunity to impress the selectors as they participate in 2 trial matches this weekend. Dominica is continuing with preparations for the Windward Islands Senior Men's Tournament. Dominica are the defending champions. That competition will get underway in July in St. Lucia. The first trial match is scheduled for this morning at the Benjamin's Park. There is a second trial match on Sunday at the Botanic Gardens. Dexia Frank got a hat-trick, including a late goal in stoppage time, as Northside were able to register a point in their match-up with the BAA Sharks as the DFA Division 1 League continued last night. Frank got a goal in the 92nd minute of play, his third of the match as Northside and BAA Sharks played to a 4-4 draw. Cliff Simon got the other goal for Northside, while for the BA Sharks, Jonathan George got a brace and Kesmin, Bethelme and Lee Coffey added a goal each. Meantime, Connect 767 Courts Redicash East Central will be hoping that round 2 of the DFA Premier League will go better than round 1 as they look to avoid relegation. Round 2 of the Premier League kicks off tonight. East Central finished round 1 of at the bottom of the points table with just 2 points, having picked up 2 draws and 7 defeats. They will come up against the Petro Caribe Point Michel tonight at the DFA Technical Center. That game gets underway at 6:30 p.m. Point Michel are currently sitting in 8th place on 8 points. They will be without their goalkeeper Peter Tuse, who is serving a 1-match suspension after he received a red card in the last match against Promex Harlem United. Tuse is also expected to be brought before the DFA's disciplinary committee, where he could face additional punishment. West Indies head coach Darren Sammy says it was a tough decision to not select Alec Athanas and Kavem Hodge for the West Indies Test series against Australia. Speaking on QFM last night, Sammy says both players have been made aware of what they need to do. He says, however, that cricket fans should remove their emotions and look at the cricketing issues. Sami says players were picked to fit certain roles.
I had the analysts dive in to the top 3 teams in the world, right? And the different batting positions, what they are doing, what the best of the top 3 teams are doing in those different batting positions, the roles that they are playing, and then we compared to ours. What are we doing? You know, during that last test, World Test Championships, Kavem, I think, scored 500 runs at an average of 25. As Dominicans, we want our players to perform well, but we must not get emotional because they hear. And if it's one thing, managed, you know about me, coming from a small island, from St. Lucia, you know, you hear of the talk of the insularity and all these things. It is one thing I will not do. You know, you watch my record as a captain, as a coach now in the CPL. If it's one place you will see every single person from the Caribbean playing is in St. Lucia. So I don't bring my emotions in my decision making. Had I done that, probably Hodge and Alec would have been there as a Windward Islander. But that's not how I operate. I'm here for West Indies cricket. If you notice, we still have these guys playing they just played the A-team series. So it's not discarded. It's just at this moment, the direction the team is going, the roles that we see from the data collected that is required to play, they just don't fit that role at that moment. However, it's not the end of the road for them.
West Indies head coach Darren Sammy. Steve Smith has officially been ruled out of Australia's first test against the West Indies in Barbados, and the Australian selectors have announced that Manus Labuschagne has been dropped from the side. Steve Smith is still recovering from a finger injury he sustained during the World Test Championship final against South Africa last week. He will be assessed again ahead of the second test in Grenada. The selectors have confirmed that Labuschagne will be dropped from Australia's 11. Labuschagne has not been in top form in recent times. He scored 464 runs in 9 test matches at an average of 30 for Australia in 2024. In other sports this evening, West Indies vice-captain Jomel Warrican says preparations are going along smoothly as the West Indies get set to face Australia in the first test next week in Barbados. The Windies team is currently in Barbados undergoing a preparatory camp. Warrican says so far things are shaping up well.
Clearly, we're in Barbados preparing right now. We're having a camp, so the guys are putting in their work, working extremely hard as a unit. We have the white ball guys that now join the team, so we're gelling well as a unit. So during the camp, we're working on with skills, topping up, whether batting or bowling and fielding. We've been doing some mock scenarios that as close as possible to the game, so batting 2 new balls or batting seam consistently. You know that Australia been coming a lot of pace against us, so the guys have been preparing for that very well. So in terms of fitness, everyone look well. The guys are ready and willing to go. So we just got to put in your hard work. It's definitely a confident booster, but I can't get caught up too much in the past. I got to stay in the moment and live in the present. So therefore, I have to understand the conditions as well. Conditions in Pakistan was a lot different. The condition assists me. So more like Ken's not going to assist me the way that Pakistan did. So that's why you have to play the condition and play in the moment.
West Indies vice-captain Jomel Warrican. PRO of the Dominica Volleyball Association, Sydney John, feels that beach volleyball could one day be Dominica's ticket to the Olympic Games. John says while emphasis will still be placed on hard-court volleyball, it could be more feasible for Dominica to qualify for major global events in beach volleyball as it requires a smaller team.
That is one of the goals of the local association, the Eastern Caribbean Association, and also NORCECA, which is the continental body. Because NORCECA is kind of unique in the fact that there are a lot of small islands being members. They have realized that beach volleyball is probably the way to go to get these small islands onto the big stage. So a lot of focus has been put into beach volleyball, especially in the Eastern Caribbean. So you'll see that for the last 3 years in a row, we've had both under 21 and senior tournaments happen in the same year. That usually does not happen. So there has been a move towards beach volleyball and developing beach volleyball. There were development courses to build technical capacity in the Eastern Caribbean. So we had 2 people participate in coaching courses, that's FIVB coaching courses. Those people are Jaden Robinson and Kaya Coffey. Jaden Robinson is a national senior beach volleyballer, and beach and indoor, I should say. And Kaya is a national senior indoor player. So we have an increased coaching capacity. We also participated in a referees course. So I was the representative from Dominica in that course, which sought to develop referees to referee at the regional and then the next continental level. And we also have an international referee from Dominica, Julian Serafin. So there has been a concerted effort to develop the sport and to build the capacity.
PRO of the Dominica Volleyball Association, Sydney John. And that's how we end the DBS Evening Sports Report, and